And we are back. It's actually been like 10 seconds since I filmed the outro, and we were right back. This is part 2 of the comparison video. I'm still wondering why I'm under this impression that people aren't going to be interested in talking to me or being around me or wanting to be in a connection, or they're just going to leave if I feel messy or imperfect. Because that's something that I'm actively trying to show in these YouTube videos, is show an imperfect person who is just talking about and creating conversation about something that she finds interesting and something that she wants the world and the rest of social media to be able to have more open conversations about, as imperfect and messy. But in person, going to my shifts, I want to play it like it's a fashion game. I know that a few of my other coworkers show up in like really pretty outfits, and they always look good, and they always look like they feel their best. And I know whenever I see those coworkers looking so good, I'm like, well, then I look bad. And it just sucks because maybe I didn't try that day. Maybe I didn't put on a full face of makeup. Maybe I didn't show up with the same jewelry. Maybe I don't look as conventionally model, but that does not neglect any of my beauty in any format. Something I heard forever ago that I've thought about for a while is this, I forget who this quote is by. I don't think it's by somebody other than an anonymous as far as I'm aware, or maybe it was just a social media made quote. But it said something like, the sunset over the ocean is just as beautiful as the sunrise over a meadow of flowers, but those two things are not the same. Those two things are opposites, completely different things, and yet all of those flowers does not mean that the ocean is ugly, and all of those waves and seashells does not mean that the grass and the bumblebees are gross. I guess it was less of a quote, more just a concept, but they can both be just as beautiful side by side on 2 different days, on 2 different spaces, right beside each other, whatever it is, and both be just as valuable, rather than saying that one has to be better than the other. I just want to practice giving myself consistent permission to just exist, to just let myself enjoy and be in the space that I am, or do what I'm doing, or continue with certain plans, no matter what imperfections I might have, rather than attempting to continuously justify what I'm doing or why I look a certain way or whatever it is. Just actually enjoy it and be in that space. And I think especially for being through or going through a past couple of days where I don't even recognize how harsh I'm being on myself. It's kind of just like in my subconscious, and it's just there. And every once in a while that I'll notice something where I'll feel it a certain way, then I really start to get towards it and I start to like focus on it. Rather than feeling like I have to buy the best new product and I have to change this whole thing and I have to change a whole entire schedule I have or whatever it is, just consistently be in a space that I am and be okay with it and let myself be happy and feel good, whatever I'm doing. And I think that for me, something that is really important for me to do is just tell myself in my brain, be like, hey, what you're doing right now is great and it's awesome. Continue with what you're doing. But you also don't need to have a self-negative talk in your head while you're doing it. You can, whatever you're doing, have a bath, enjoy a book, whatever. And the ideas and thoughts that are going through your head can be paused. We don't have to pay attention to those. We can just let those be. And I think for me, at least, I'll tell myself I'll come back to it, because I know for sure as hell I don't ever come back to anything I say I'm going to, unless it's genuinely important. I know that for things like that, I'm going to forget about it. And then for me, then that makes it so ideal, because if I come back to it, I'll never come back to it because I forget what I was even saying. Because frankly, I was just speaking through my head to speak so that I can perfect myself and be better, so I can be more well liked or more that, when I just want to be me. I want to enjoy myself. I think what does trying to be perfect even look like is really important to ask yourself, because what for you does it even mean? Does it mean that whole jawline thing? Does it mean getting to a certain point in life? Because what's really interesting is that me at 16 would look at me now at 20 and be like, oh, that is almost a perfect version of what I've wanted. But me now at 20, I'm nowhere near. If we're talking about a very specific social media standard on exactly what you should be, like, I don't fit that box. And I think it's always something that you're going to grow towards and always something that you're going to continue building up at, because truly at the end of the day, you're not going to reach it. There is no point to when it just stops and when it's over and when you're able to just say, hey, great, we're perfect now. Because even if you have the perfect body, the perfect face, perfect outfits, perfect everything else, there's always something in your head that's actively working towards something else to be even better. Because at the point, it's just becoming an addiction. There's nothing you're actually working towards except wanting to be so deeply well liked. And I think those are things that we really need to separate from each other rather than saying, oh, I look perfect like this, or rather than saying to yourself, oh, I want clear skin, I want to be less bloated, I want to be this, I want to be that, whatever your specific thing is. Rather than saying that, actually challenge it and look deeper and in between and go, what am I really going for here? Is it that these things that are more, like, I want to say they're materialistic. I know they're not something physical that you give or own, really. I guess sort of technically, but I want to say materialistic because you're just working to something that doesn't really have that actual value. It's not transactional. It's not really meaningful. I guess it is sort of, I don't know. With those materialistic sort of things, what does materialistic even mean? I don't think I'm using that right. I guess sort of similar, being overly focused on acquiring wealth, possessions, or physical comforts. So I guess sort of that thing. When we're focusing on that, what does that deeper meaning actually mean? Is it that I'm just like, hey, a couple people the other day told me something and then they didn't realize that they're actually hurting my feelings and that made me feel like shit? Or one of my coworkers I really love, I want to be friends with them, but they don't like me because of this, or I assume they don't like me because of this. What is it actually? Is it because somebody in your life doesn't like you? Is it because somebody in the past has actually blatantly told you to your face, hey, I don't like you because of this? What is actually getting to your soul that is not making you feel comfortable? And I think that once we get to the point of being able to be so comfortable enough to really dive into that, and we have the conversations where we can talk about that, whether you're comfortable enough to do that over camera or with a friend, that's amazing and that's great if you can. But it's also amazing and great if you're able to do that just by yourself and with yourself. I don't have these conversations consistently with people in my space. I know Stella is somebody that I do, and every once in a while I have these kinds of conversations with my sister. But other than that, I'm not talking about this a lot with people who are my peers or in my life. And so maybe that's my next step to push myself to be even more comfortable, is to speak about that. And so for me, I'm like, social media is a good outlet, but would it be a good outlet to speak about this consistently in front of people who make me nervous and who I don't speak with often? I don't know, but it's an idea because I really do want to push myself to be incredibly 100% confident with just the way that I wake up. Just the way that I look when I wake up, maybe with brushed hair, because I do tend to have some pretty intense hair knots. Hello, Mummy. I'm in the middle of filming right now. How are you? No, you're good. I can call you back in 15, but you get a little. I probably will. I know I mention you sometimes. Can I call you back in a bit? Sounds good. Love you. Bye. That was my mama. I think not just talking about physical looks, but also about the way that I present myself is I don't. This is something really specific. With YouTube, I didn't make videos that I really wanted to, not only because I didn't really know what my style on YouTube was yet, and I'm sure I'll change that up eventually over the time that it takes while I'm making these videos or whatever I'm doing with this little career, but also because I didn't share certain content because I didn't think it was going to perform well. And that was something about me sort of delaying what I thought wasn't good enough yet and not putting it out there into the universe to let it be seen. When at the end of the day, I want things to be seen. And this is something that's also really interesting is I haven't posted about my YouTube channel on social media, as in Instagram. I haven't shared it with anybody else out of my family, truly a couple of people, but people who I don't think are actually watching these YouTube videos, although I could be wrong. But I haven't really made this a big thing, and part of me wants to, because I know not only could it grow more and get more views and capacity, it could also, not views as in for me, by the way, I want to make that really clear. It's not views that I'm like, great, now I got this many and I can make money off of this or this, whatever it is. Of course, it'd be nice to make money off of this, but it's not my intention is to just like drag in views, because if it was, I would not be filming this kind of content. I would be filming very different Brent Rivera type like content, and I know that I could get views really fast. This is the kind of stuff that I want to make is real, but I'm getting views in the sense that people could actually be really viewing and enjoying that content, and it could get to more people. And so maybe that's something that I can work on. And at the end of this video, this is sort of me just saying that this is something that could be really valuable for me to be more open about. And so not only am I comfortable sharing what I look like naturally on screen and sharing what I look like naturally in person around other people, I want to push that to the idea of, and I also want to state, I do that at work too. But sometimes that can bring my confidence down because I'll show up to work happy and confident, feeling natural. But I feel like I'll look at one of my other friends who is in a full entire beat and looks really good, by the way. And I feel like she'll get more attention, and then it feels like it brings me down. There's this whole thing. And I feel like this is something that's really easy for me to talk about, but so much easier for me to talk about when I have a second person in the conversation. So maybe I'm going to start introducing some friends to the podcast, which would then mean I start to introduce my podcast to my friends. So maybe that's something I'll try. Maybe that's my next step in being even more confident and comfortable with myself. But I don't know. I guess we don't even know when we're going to meet our own expectations. I guess we don't even know what the end point is, because there is no end point to this. It's always constantly working towards feeling your best and looking your best while not being a fake version of yourself, while being yourself. So thanks for watching. Bye, guys. See you in the next video.